Valve, please update MvM. Many thanks, a random fan with a YouTube channel. Alright, no, I can't just say a single sentence. I've got to elaborate on why I want and think MvM needs an update. Let's start with a brief introduction, because an introduction is always needed when writing a video essay. At least that's what they taught every year of school, so it's been burned in my mind. Man vs. Machine is TF2's PvE mode, or Horde mode if you will, where a team of 6 players face off against waves of AI-controlled robots. MvM was introduced back into the game in August 15th, 2012. Now, this wasn't some game mode that was just thrown together into the game all willy-nilly like how Player Destruction was, or still isn't because it never technically came out. No, this was a mode that Valve was hard at work on for years and teased for years, and it had an ARG in the days leading up to its announcement. Valve littered small references to the then unreleased mode all the way back in 2010 with this SFM teaser for the Engineer update containing Robot Head. The point here is that MvM was not created as a simple, shallow throw rate game mode. No, MvM is the single most complex alternate game mode to TF2, excluding the main PvP modes like Payload or King of the Hill. So, why am I talking about a mode that's still frequently played? Well, it's because it's in serious need of an update. It is one of the biggest aspects of TF2, and it has been left mostly untouched since its last major update, Two Cities, back in 2013, which was almost 5 years ago. Two Cities was arguably the best update MvM ever received, with certain class-specific upgrades getting added, an entire new tour with 2 maps, and many times better loot for manning up with the introduction of killstreak kits and Australian weapons. Unfortunately, it was the last. MvM really hasn't been touched since Two Cities, and it really shows. While we did have Titanium Tank not too long ago, which by itself was a fantastically fun and challenging tour, it didn't actually get an update, and all Valve did was implement the medals for completing the tour. Well, that and a small blog post from the team. While Two Cities introduced a tour by the same name, the additions to the Man Up tours kind of made all the other tours irrelevant due to the fact that the killstreak kits and Australian weapons could only be obtained by playing the single tour. Since the launch, Australians do now have a chance of dropping from any other tour, but in terms of getting a bang for your buck, Two Cities still has every other tour outbeat due to the fact that it's the only tour that drops killstreak kits and robot parts that are needed to complete said kits. On the other hand, the other tours only get you the chance of getting a bot killer weapon, which, while at least a strange variant, really pales in comparison to the possible loot from Two Cities. The main concern here is that Two Cities is by far the most played tour, with all the other ones being neglected and abandoned. It can be very hard to find a full server for the other missions, but a pattern I've noticed is that there seems to be more newer players that try playing these tours. I believe it's due to a lack of knowledge on the differences from the loot pool, but maybe it's because they don't care about the loot. That's always a possibility. My point here is that the other tours need some attention. They've been left in the dust in the glory that is Two Cities, and it's shameful because it essentially means there's only one viable tour. One singular tour actually worth playing. There's really no variety in mission if you're looking to play MvM for its loot. With this, there's a pretty easy fix. My suggestion is that any tour, advanced or up, in terms of difficulty, gets the same loot pool and drop rates as the Two Cities currently has. This would add in 3 extra tours for players to play for a chance to get that sweet Australian weapon or killstreak kit. It would help with the game mode not getting as stale from having to play the same 4 missions over and over again, since there'd just be a tiny bit of variety. Now, with the single intermediate tour, Operation Oil Spill, I'd say leave the reward as is, that way there's still a way to get bot killers, while also making sense that the easier tour wouldn't net the same loot as the harder ones. Heck, with Operation Gear Grinder, you could change some of the drops around to reflect the harder difficulty. What I'm getting at is there's a way to fix this issue in a simple way that wouldn't take adding in things. I know TF2's code is a mess of spaghetti, but I don't see it being that hard to change. I'll come back to the more fleshed out ideas later on, but for now I want to move on to the class balance in the game.
Oh.
Now this is a segment where programmers would have to be much more involved in an update because we're talking about class and weapon imbalance. Ever since MvM dropped, the game mode has always struggled to find a balance of classes. Some were superior and always a good choice, while others made people yell at you for playing a useless class. Heck, as a real example, Medic used to be almost worthless. He didn't have his 2 integral abilities when the mode first dropped, those being the amazing projectile shield and of course the reanimator, which allows Medic to bring teammates back to life. Two Cities was literally created to give Medic a solid role in the MvM meta, to make sure he was used. The tour that came with it basically built around almost always needing to have a medic. The basic meta became a scout, soldier, demo, heavy, medic, and NG, but there are varying team metas such as the 4 soldier meta. However, aside from Medic, no other class was really touched aside from Soldier being made even stronger with the Rocket Specialist upgrade being introduced. The three quote-unquote weakest class for MvM were the Pyro, Spy, and Sniper. Pyro just wasn't good. His job could be done by basically every other class and better. However, nowadays, since Jungle Inferno introduced the Gas Passer and the Dragon's Fury, he's become a much more viable class with the ability to almost cover Demo's role in taking out medics in large hordes. So I won't really be focusing on it for this point. Instead, I'm going to dive into Spy and Sniper. Now, don't misunderstand me. Both Spy and Sniper can actually be pretty good, but a main problem is their skill ceiling and real lack of upgrades. Spy is more so a problem in the upgrade department rather than Sniper though. Sniper and Spy can both replace a core class function. Sniper, if the player has enough skill, can easily replace Demo with the explosive headshot ability. Spy can theoretically replace Scout with his Sapper being able to disable and slow robots, and being able to covertly collect money. However, I want to focus on Spy here instead of Sniper because Sniper is honestly fine, he just requires a skilled player to play him to his full potential. Spy is by far the hardest class to pull off in MvM, and that's not just coming from someone who's the worst Spy you'll ever see. In terms of abilities, he is one of the most underwhelming. Yes, his Sapper has a special ability to disable robots in a radius, and he's able to backstab the hell out of giants, but a huge problem with Spy is his survivability. Scout has a unique ability to heal and gain overheal from collecting money, which paired with resistances makes him a hard hopping boy to kill. The problem here is that Spy has no such ability, despite the fact that he has to be in close range to be effective. He has to be in the middle of the robots to do his job. His only means of self-heal is the kunai, so if you run Spy without the kunai, have fun managing your measly health pool of 125 hit points with hopes that the robots don't target you and your medic swoops in every now and then to keep you healed. Or you invest on health on kill. Now, there's one very simple fix to this. Give Spy the ability to heal from picking up money just like Scout. This would up Spy's survivability immensely and make him a much more effective money collector. Even if Spy is given this ability, I don't think he would end up outclassing Scout, because Scout would still have the upper hand in the mobility territory with Mad Milk and being able to mark bots for death in his arsenal. Now, in terms of weapons and not classes, there are several weapons for every class that are just entirely useless or underwhelming. But going over each and every weapon in detail would mean this video would be up to an hour long. So I won't be discussing these things, but I just want to make it aware that there are a lot of weapons that are virtually unusable.
Hoorah!
Back to the metaphorical suggestion box on what could be done with MvM to spice it up, I'm going to hand it off to a friend since he has a lot of suggestions that could be implemented into MvM. But quickly, I want to note that we're not really thinking the economy with these suggestions. So if something screams, this would ruin the economy even more, then just note that we're not really taking the economy into consideration very much.
Starting off, the easiest way to fix MvM would be to fix the loot pools, just because everyone only plays 2 cities, and that's about it. That's the only one that they can actually use to make a profit. One thing that Valve could do right now in order to fix MvM is to add the robotic boogaloo hats as rewards for missions. I mean, you can only get them from keyless crates right now, so it's not like anyone is actually going to be getting them. On the note of rewards for each of the tours, it would be really nice if they had specialized rewards for each of the individual tours. For example, giving each tour its own special collection of war paints or cosmetics that you could get from them, and that would really help to redistribute the amount of players playing each of them. Given how much love Valve has been giving to war paints recently, I would love to see an MvM themed line of them, and this would be a perfect way to introduce it. Along with all those tours, we really need some rewards for completing Wave 666, which could probably be used during Halloween in order to re-drop spells that could be used on weapons. And speaking of items that were only ever dropped pretty much once, bring back collector's kits as rewards. We only ever saw them like once or twice, so that could help rejuvenate the economy and get some more excess fodder out of the economy as well. An MvM update would be a great time in order to introduce MvM contracts, and that itself could rejuvenate most of the non-2 cities tours on its own. Just give us contracts that are specific to certain maps or certain tours, and that would get a lot of people playing them in the first place. On the subject of new tours, Valve should really look into making Titanium Tank its own official map set. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, Titanium Tank was a community update made a couple of months ago in order to rejuvenate the community of MvM map makers. The beauty of Titanium Tank is that it added a lot of new, fresh ideas to all the MvM robots. For example, giving them newer weapons such as the Gas Passer or Vaccinator, which really shake up the way that you fight against the robots. Granted, the community didn't really acknowledge the existence of Titanium Tank until a couple of YouTubers made videos about it, but still, they made a community medal for it, and that at least acknowledges that Valve knows that people still play MvM and want an MvM update, so hopefully that means that something will be happening in the future, but it's hard to say at this point, and that will require Valve to actually put in some work.
All in all, TLDR, all things considered, MvM needs an update, and there's so much that can be done with it. Now this is the part of the video where I wrap things up and ask you guys your opinion on the whole thing. Do you think MvM needs an update? Do you agree with our suggestions? Do you have any ideas that could work to update MvM? Do you think MvM is a waste of time and the team should instead be working on other aspects of the game? Whatever it is, be sure to share it in the comment section below. In conclusion, no, wait, I'm not supposed to say that, it's bad form. I hope you enjoyed this video, been wanting to do it for a long time, and I hope to see you in the next one!